Is it fair to characterize Lindbergh as a Nazi sympathizer? I reread some of the parts yesterday, and you describe, his visits to Germany and the propaganda and how they cleaned up the streets and took down the signs. Again, Nazi sympathizer, naive, or just entrenched in a belief, and he really knew what was going on, but was so entrenched in his beliefs.
He knew what was going on. I mean, they went back 3 times. So the first time it was cleaned up, but I don't think the second times. And you know what? I don't even think I call him a Nazi sympathizer. I'll be really honest. I think he's a fascist, or he was a fascist, just from his own writings. He believed that Hitler's Germany was extraordinary. He liked its discipline. He liked its rigidness. It was a lot like Charles Lindbergh's personality, right? He thought Hitler was a great man. And while he had some flaws, he was gonna do great things for Europe. He wanted to move his family to Berlin. And the only reason, I mean, here he is that fall, he's going to move his family to Berlin. And what stopped him was American public opinion after Kristallnacht. They were like, Lindbergh's going to go and move to Germany. And that's really what stopped him. He had friends writing to him, Alexis Carrel, writing to him and saying, wow, back in the United States, people are really inflamed by the fact that they think you're going to go and live in Berlin. And so he didn't. He made a lot of excuses for Hitler and for the Nazi regime, even after World War II ended, even after he'd gone to a concentration camp in May of 45, he was still making excuses and asking questions like, oh, how could Hitler have done it? Which seems pretty mild to me. Because of his trips to Germany and his encounter with the Nazis, he began to question American democracy. And probably, I think, the most fundamental part of American democracy, which is persons' right to vote. And he began to think that he questioned, aloud in his journals, this is not me, it's him. He began to question this idea that everyone should have a vote. If those that didn't have as much education, why were less superior people being allowed to vote and have a voice in how government was run? He began to think that should be left to only those more superior persons. Of course, him being one of them. And then he actually encouraged his wife, Anne Morrow, to write a book, which was shocking when I read it, actually, called Wave of the Future, in which she writes that America should become a fascist country, but it doesn't have to be Germany's form of fascism. That American fascism could be, and this is her quote, could be as American as blue jeans, as fresh as an apple, apple pie. And so, these are not people that sympathize. These are people that are actually, they sound like fascists to me.